another kid?
She does not have any more children.
Okay.
And the hint you got, there was some foreshadowing there, that there are no stairs. And if there are no stairs, there's no angel.
Oh, yeah.
That's the hint you got. Okay, chapter 13. Boys from my class at Leamy School are going on a weekend cycling trip to Killaloe. They tell me I should borrow a bicycle and come. All I need is a blanket, a few spoons of tea and sugar, and a few cuts of bread to keep me going. I'll learn to cycle on Naaman Griffin's bicycle every night after he goes to bed, and he'll surely let me borrow it for the 2 days in Killaloe. The best time to ask him for anything is Friday night, when he's in a good mood after his night of drinking and his dinner. He's so disgusting when you hear this. He's just gross. He brings home the same dinner in his overcoat pockets. A big steak dripping blood. He puts it in his coat pocket. Who does that? 4 potatoes, an onion, and a bottle of stout. Now it's Friday, right? And they're Catholic. Before Vatican II, Catholics could not have meat on Fridays. Ever. During Lent, that's still the rule. But back then, it was every Friday. The reason was that it was supposed to be kind of a fasting and a sacrifice. That's the official word. Cynics of the church will tell you it's because they wanted more donations to the church. Whichever way you feel about it, they weren't supposed to have meat on Friday. You could have fish, but you can't have meat. He's bringing home a bloody steak. Doesn't get worse than that.
Wait, what's stout?
Stout is Guinness, a dark porter, a dark beer. A real heavy, heavy beer. It's thick, almost like milk. It's real thick and bitter. Man boils the potatoes and fries the steak with sliced onion. He keeps his overcoat on, sits at the table, and eats the steak out of his hands. The grease and blood rolled down his chin and onto the overcoat where he wipes his hands. He drinks his stout and laughs that there's nothing like a great bloody steak of a Friday night, and if that's the worst sin he ever commits, he'll float to heaven body and soul, ha ha ha. Of course you can have my bike, he says. Boys should be able to get out and see the countryside, of course, but you have to earn it. You can't be getting something for nothing, isn't that right? 'Tis. I'd have a job for you. You don't mind doing a bit of a job, do you? You don't? And you'd like to help your mother? I would. Well, no. That very chamber pot is full since this morning. I want you to climb up and get it and take it to the lavatory and rinse it under the tap abroad and climb back up with it. I don't want to empty this chamber pot, but I dream of cycling miles on the road to Killaloe, fields and sky far from this house. I swim in the Shannon, a night sleeping in a barn. I pull the table and chair to the wall. I climb up and under the bed. There's the plain white chamber pot, streaked brown and yellow and brimming with piss and shit. So he's sitting on the bowl. They're not supposed to do that. He's supposed to go outside, but he's too lazy.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
It's gross. I lay it gently at the edge of the loft so it won't spill, climb down to the chair, reach for the chamber pot, bring it down, turn my face away, hold it while I step down to the table, place it on the chair, step to the floor, take the chamber pot to the lavatory, empty it and get sick behind the lavatory till I get used to this job. Layman says I'm a good boy and the bike is mine anytime I want it, as long as the chamber pot is empty. And I'm there to run to the shop for his cigarettes, go to the library for his books, or do whatever else he wants. He says, you have a great way with the chamber pot. He laughs, and Mam stares into the dead ashes of the fireplace. It's raining so hard one day. Miss O'Riordan, the librarian, says, don't go out in that or you'll ruin the books you're carrying. Sit down over there and behave yourself. You can read all about the saints while you're waiting. There are 4 big books. Butler's Lives of the Saints. I don't want to spend my life reading about saints, but when I start, I wish the rain would last forever. Whenever you see pictures of saints, men or women, they're always looking up to heaven where the clouds are filled with little fat angels, carrying flowers or harps giving praise. Uncle Pa Keaton says he can't think of a single saint in heaven he'd want to sit down and have a pint with. The saints in this book are different. There are stories about virgins, martyrs, virgin martyrs, and they're worse than any horror film at the Lyric Cinema. I have to look in the dictionary to find out what a virgin is. You know the Mother of God is Virgin Mary. They call her that because she didn't have a proper husband, only poor old St. Joseph. In the lives of the saints, the virgins are always getting into trouble, and I don't know why. The dictionary says virgin, women, usually women, who is and remains in a state of inviolate chastity. Now I have to look up inviolate and chastity, and all I can find here is that inviolate means not violated, and chastity means chaste, and that means pure from unlawful sexual intercourse. Now I have to look up intercourse, and that leads to intromission, which leads to intromittent, the copulatory organ of any male animal. Copulatory leads to copulation, the union of the sexes in the art of generation, and I don't know what that means, and I'm too weary going from one word to another in this heavy dictionary, which leads me on a wild goose chase from this word to that word, and all because the people who wrote the dictionary don't want the likes of me to know anything. All I want to know is where I came from. But if you ask anyone, they tell you to ask someone else, or send you from word to word. All these virgin martyrs are told by Roman judges they have to give up their faith and accept the Roman gods, but they say nay, and the judges have them tortured and killed. My favourite is St. Christina, the astonishing, who takes ages to die. The judge says, cut off her breast, and when they do, she throws it at him, and he goes deaf, dumb, and blind. Another judge is brought on the case, and he says, cut off the other breast, and the same thing happens. They try to kill her with arrows, and they just bounce off her and kill the soldiers that shot them. They try to boil her in oil, but she rocks in the vat and takes a nap for herself. Then the judge gets fed up, and they have her head cut off, and that does the job. The feast of St. Christina the Astonishing is the 24th of July, and I think I'll keep that for myself, along with the feast of St. Francis of Assisi on the 4th of October. And he actually died just before that. I thought it was on that day, which would have been really creepy, but it was the 19th of July he died. The librarian says she'll have to go home now. The rain has stopped. And when I'm going out the door, she calls me back. She wants to write a note to my mother, and she doesn't mind one bit if I read it. The note says, Dear Miss McCourt, just when you think Ireland has gone to the dogs altogether, you find a boy sitting in the library, so absorbed in the lives of the saints, he doesn't realise the rain has stopped, and you have to drag him away from the aforesaid lives. I think, Miss McCourt, you might have a future priest on your hands, and I'll light a candle in hopes it comes true. I remain, yours truly, Catherine O'Riordan, Assistant Librarian.